He's going to be conducting the session this evening. Jeremy is the Director of Support, Training and Documentation for BNI Connect worldwide, and he manages a support team of 8 other individuals throughout the world. Basically, he helps keep the BNI Connect project focused and moving forward in a positive and supportive fashion. Just to share with you some of the performance and statistics of this project. Since implementing a comprehensive support strategy and help desk in July 2011, the BNI Connect support team now provides 24 hours coverage 5 days a week for support questions and issues globally, and 98% of these inquiries are being responded to within 1 business day. 82% of all tickets are solved within 2 hours of receipt, which is incredible. In 20 months, the team has answered over 16,000 inquiries. Their online self-help forums on their support website are averaging over 11,000 hits every month, and they have a comprehensive library of hundreds of articles, visual guides, and training material. You'll all get access to this link. So with your BNI Connect experience, if you're ever stuck, if you've got questions, you can access this library at the same time. Over 15 hours of live webinar training is offered on a monthly basis, and over 60,000 minutes have been logged on by members watching recorded content. So it's an incredible project. Jeremy has also been a member of the Wakefield chapter in Rhode Island of BNI since 2002, so he's a member over 10 years, and he's been a director consultant since 2004. His secret to success is to make sure that every person he works with believes that their issue is the most important one in the world and the only one he is dealing with at that exact moment. I love that motto on customer service, Jeremy. And something few people know about Jeremy is that he graduated college with a degree in philosophy. So the question remains, what is he doing at this end? So without much further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Jeremy Walsh. Thank you, Jeremy. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Bijay. So I'm here to introduce you all to the member module, as we've codenamed it. It's also called the Online Slips Program. So what this program does is it allows you to enter all of the slips that we traditionally pass at the meeting ahead of time online in BNI Connect. And there are a ton of advantages for doing this, which I'll get into as we go through the program. Now, before we even get started, I do want to make it 100% absolutely clear that in no way are we trying to change the BNI meeting. Your BNI meeting should be exactly the same as it ever was before. During the referrals and testimonials portion, we still absolutely want to report on all of the activity that we had during the week. We want to talk about all of the referrals that we passed, all of the thank you for closed business that we're thanking people for, the CEUs, the one-to-ones that we've had, all of that activity that happens that makes BNI what it is. We absolutely still want to report on that. The only difference is for most of these slips, there's no need to actually turn over a physical piece of paper. But there are other ways that we are going to tackle that, and I'll get into that again as we're going through this. Some of the other benefits are referrals that are entered. You get a notification about it right away. You can track all of this activity yourself going forward, so no more stacks of pieces of paper with rubber bands around them or Excel spreadsheets. And in addition, for all of you membership coordinators out there, the more people that are entering the slips online, the easier it will be for you to do your weekly POMS reporting, which, again, I will show you as we're going along here. So let's jump in and get started. What you're looking at right now is the new home screen that you will see when you log into BNI Connect for the first time next week. Traditionally, logging in now, what you would see is this. And you'll notice that the home screen will change to the My BNI Business screen. You can still access all of the previous functions on the old home screen by clicking on the My Network link that's here. But this will take over as the default. Now, you'll see some changes here. What you'll see at the top is your personal POMS report. So what this is all of your activity from the POMS reports over the past 12 months, as well as over your lifetime in BNI. So again, you're looking at my actual stats here. I am a member in BNI, and this is what I see when I log into BNI Connect. So I can see the referrals that I've received this year. I see the thank you for closed business that I've been thanked for, the referrals that I've given, the visitors that I've brought, the one-to-ones and the CEUs that I've reported. There's also a new number on here, the thank you for closed business received. So the money that I've reported that I've received in my business. Now this is a new number in BNI. We've never been able to track this before. Traditionally, thank you for closed business is an anonymous thank you. So you're putting a thank you in to somebody that generated business, but there's no connection back to whose business that went to, just that somebody generated it. Now, note this number for everybody will start at 0 because we've never tracked it before. However, by putting in online slips, we can now make that connection. And that is the only way, by the way, that this number will start to accumulate is if you enter the thank you for closed business via an online slip. Now, these numbers up here will only change once the membership coordinator has submitted the POMS report. So as we're going through and we're entering these online slips, and I'll show you how to do that in just a minute, don't expect these numbers up here to change right away. Those will only change once a week after your membership coordinator has entered and officially okayed and submitted the POMS reports. So let me switch right now over to my test system. We do have a test system for BNI, and this is our test system. In order to enter slips, we're going to use this bottom section of the screen, and you'll notice that there's a couple of different options for entering. We have enter TYFCB, the thank you for closed business. We can enter referrals, we can enter one-to-ones, and enter CEUs. There's also a function called the referral tracking sheet, which I'll show you. And then we have some complementary reports, the My Reports, which is a report of all of the slips that you've entered online. We also have a referral tracking report and a personal meeting activity sheet. As I said, we're going to go through each one of these in turn. So let's say that you're the week before your meeting, you're going through the week and you closed some business. The first thing you might want to do is to thank another member for that business that closed in your chapter. So what you would do is click on this Enter Thank You for Closed Business link. What this will do is to pop up a screen that has the Thank You for Closed Business slip. Now this is the exact same slip that we use currently in the meetings, except that it's electronic. So all you really need to do is to choose somebody from your chapter. So let's say that I'd like to thank Christine Denardi. She's a residential real estate person in my chapter, and she passed me a referral a couple of weeks back. It turned into closed business, and I'd like to thank her. And this referral generated $250 for my business. And it was a new piece of business. It was an outside referral. Now here's the great part. I can even put the comments in about this particular thank you for closed business. The comments will remain private to you and only you. Nobody else can see the comments. Not even myself with godlike access to BNI Connect can look at the comments that you put into the comments field of your thank you for closed business. So the great part about this is you can be as descriptive as you want to be. And I'll tell you why this is important in just a second. So I can put in that this was for a referral to Bob Jones that she gave me for consulting services. So this is a reminder to me of what I'm thanking her for. Now there's a couple of options down at the bottom. After I've filled out the form, I can either choose Save and New, which will submit this slip, almost like virtually dropping it into the hat or the bowl that might get passed around at a meeting. I can choose just Submit, which will submit this and bring me back to the home screen. Or I can choose Close, which will cancel this entirely. Now I'm going to choose Save and New because I'd like to enter another slip right away. Now that's really helpful if you happen to have your QuickBooks or your spreadsheet or your accounting program open and you'd like to go through and report all of your thank you for closed business at once. You can do that pretty quickly by just clicking Save and New. The other option that you'll have is the ability to thank people in other chapters for referrals that closed. And you can do that pretty easily by clicking on the Search Cross Chapter button. So I have a couple of contacts, some people that I work with in other chapters, and let's say I'd like to thank one of them for business that closed. I can search for that person within my region. So there was a person in another chapter. His name is Dave Cordero. He's a web consultant, and he had passed me business that I'd like to thank him for. So I can look him up. I don't even have to put his full name in. I could just put the first couple of characters of his name and do a search. Now this is going to pull up everybody with DAV in their name, and I just need to find the right person in the list. And it looks like there was quite a few of them here. So let me do a more descriptive search here. So I'm going to do the first couple of characters of his last name as well. So here we go, David Cordero. I can see that he's in the CityBiz chapter and the name of his company. And this is the right person. So what I'd like to do is to put a little dot here to select him. And we'll say, are you sure that's the right person? Yes, I am. I'm going to click OK. Now we can see that it's going to do a thank you to Dave Cordero. Now this was a great referral. It was for $2,500. And it was new business, and it was an outside referral. And I can put that this one was for Jane Smith for a new, let's say, server for her business. I can choose Save and New if I want to enter a new one right away, but this is the last one I'm going to do for now, so I'm going to click Submit. And this will bring us back to our home screen. Now, once you enter all of these slips online in BNI Connect, they'll all go into a special report so that you can keep track of them going forward. So as soon as the screen refreshes here for us, just keep in mind I'm on our test system, which is a little bit slower than BNI Connect. But you'll notice down in the My Reports, I have a My Thank You for Closed Business report. So I'm going to click on the My Thank You for Closed Business. By default, this is going to give us our last 6 months, but you can choose any date range that you'd like. So if I click Go, this will pull up all of the Thank You for Closed Business slips that I entered online in BNI Connect. Now, the great thing about this is, and I'm sure this has never happened to you, but a member comes up to me, he says, hey, you remember that referral that I passed you for John Jones from 3 months back? Did you ever turn in a Thank You for Closed Business slip for me? Well, right now, there's almost no way for us to be able to figure out if we did that or if we remember doing that, unless you're keeping some type of a spreadsheet on the side. By tracking these online, I can go back to my Thank You for Closed Business report, and I can say, oh yeah, Frank, remember that referral from way back in January? I absolutely thank you for that. That was for Bob Smith. I helped him with his network. It was an outside referral, so I can track these going forward. Now, what's another type of slip that we'd like to enter? And probably the number one thing we'll be doing is to be entering our referrals. So if I have a referral for somebody else, I'm going to click on the Enter Referrals link. And this slip should look familiar. It is exactly the same as the referral slips that we enter now when we go to a chapter meeting. It even has the temperature gauge over on the right-hand side. So again, I'm just going to choose somebody from my chapter. So let's say I'd like to, I have a referral for Phil Jaber. He sells merchant accounts and credit card processing. And this referral was for Casey's Restaurant that needed a new credit card processing system. It was an outside referral. I gave Casey's Restaurant his card and told them they would call, give them the address, 1 Main Street in Wakefield, Rhode Island, the telephone number, the email address, and any comments. Speak to Mr. Casey. I already told him all about you. And any other comments that I'd like to put in there. Now this is a pretty hot referral, so I'm going to rate it 4 on the temperature scale. And again, I have the option to save and new if I'd like to put another referral in right away. Or I can just click Submit to submit this one and go back to the previous screen. Now I'm going to click Save and New. because you can also do cross-chapter referrals. So it's great to network with people throughout the region or throughout the country to be able to have more relationships with people. So going back, let's do a search, and I have a referral for somebody. His name is Peter. And Peter George, he's a consultant in the area. I'm going to select him. And I had a referral for Peter. So, and the referral was Jane Smith. It was an outside referral. Gave him the card. I put the address in. And the rest of this is exactly the same as an in-chapter referral. And again, I'm going to rate this one a 2, and I'm going to click Submit. Now, the great thing about doing the referrals online is that both of these people will have just received an email from me saying, hey, I've got a referral for you. Let me show you what one of those emails looks like. So this is an actual notification that I received about 2 weeks ago from a member of my chapter. The person gave me the referral on March 12th. I know the dates look backwards to you guys probably, but we do month first here in the United States. It was a Tier 2 outside referral. He had told them I would call them. It was rated a 4. It was from Ken Neff. I have the referral's name, the address, the phone number, the email address, the comments, and I even have my follow-up information. So if I need to contact Ken for more information, I can have all of his contact details right there, his email address and his phone number. The great thing is when you receive these on your phone, in your email on the phone, usually you can just click right on the phone number or right on the email address and start that conversation right away. This shortens the referral process, so you have a better chance at closing those deals that are being referred to you. Now, of course, as with the Thank You for Closed Business, there is a My Referrals report that goes along with this. By default, it's going to give you the last month, but again, you can go back and choose a different time frame. So if I'd like to go back to, let's say, November through today, I can do that and click Go. And this will show me all of the referrals that I've given during that time period. It has the person's name. So these are the last 2 that I just did a few seconds ago. The referral to Phil Jaber. It gives me the referral name, the contact information, the notes that I put in there. And you'll also see that it has a status of what that referral, whether it's new, whether it's pending, whether it's closed. When I'm done reviewing this, I can close it. And again, as with just about every report in BNI Connect, you can export this if you'd like to keep this in a separate database, or you can print it out if you would like a paper copy of it. So the next type of slip that you might want to enter is a one-to-one slip. So when you meet with somebody outside of your chapter meeting, and again, this is very much like the one-to-one slips that we use now. We're just going to select the person that we met with. So let's say I met with Jim Lawrence. He's a lawyer in our chapter. You can choose who initiated that conversation if you'd like to track that. The location that we met. So we met at Jim's office. What did we talk about? New laws and the date that you met. And let's say that we met on Monday. Again, I can choose Save and New, or I can choose Submit. And keep in mind that we also have the cross-chapter button available. So if you meet with somebody from another chapter, you can record that and get credit for it in your Palms report as well. So I'm just going to click Submit here. And this slip has now been passed electronically. Now, the great thing about the one-to-one slips is that only one person needs to enter that slip online. So as you're at your one-to-one, just have a quick conversation. Hey, are you going to enter the slip online or am I? Now, if the second person does try to enter the slip, it will give you a warning. It will say, by the way, the slip has already been entered. Are you sure that you want to put another one in? It will let you put a second slip in if you really, really want to. I suppose there are times when you may meet with the same person twice in one day, but most of the time we're just going to cancel that knowing that a slip has already been entered. And as with the other ones, there is a complimentary My One-to-Ones report that goes along with that. By default, this is going to show you the last 6 months of your one-to-ones, and when I click Go, we'll be able to see all those one-to-ones. Now the one-to-ones will show up in both parties' one-to-one report. So whether I enter the one-to-one or my one-to-one partner entered it, they'll show up in both of our reports. What I love about this report as a member is, again, I'm sure this has never happened to you, but you're sitting in your BNI meeting and you look across the room at one of your referral partners and say, hey, you know, I haven't really been able to give Janet any business in the past couple of months. It's been really hard trying to find a referral for that person, or I haven't received a referral from that person in a really long time. Now you can go back and look at your one-to-ones and strategize and say, hey, you know, I haven't done a one-to-one with Janet since October. That's probably why I haven't been able to get many referrals for Janet, and she hasn't been able to get very many referrals for me. I should probably put some time in my schedule to do a couple of one-to-ones with Janet if I want to rekindle that relationship. And again, this is exportable or printable. So the final type of slip that we have to enter in BNI Connect is the CEU slip. CEUs stand for Chapter Education Units, so it's the time that you spend sharpening your saw, learning more about networking or participating in networking events. And this is the official slip from BNI, and it allows you to track, if you listen to the BNI CDs or if you read the SuccessNet newsletter, that's worth 1 credit, or you listen to some podcasts online, or attend leadership team training, or another advanced module, or read a BNI or networking book. The nice thing about this slip is it does the math for you. So let's say that I read 2 books this week. I finally finished 2 books that I was working on. I went to a leadership team training, and I listened to 2 sets of podcasts. You can see that on the right-hand side, I just need to put the quantity in, and it will calculate out the totals for me. Once I click Submit, this slip will be entered. And of course, there is a My CEU slip, My CEU report that goes along with this. By default, it'll show me the last 6 months. Again, you can change that if you'd like to choose any date range you'd like. And we click Go. And now we can see the details of each of the slips that we entered. So if I scroll down to the bottom here, it'll show me that for the slip that I entered on 3/27, it'll show me all the totals, the quantities that I've had. And at the bottom, I can see a grand total of all of the credits that I've taken so far. When you receive a referral in BNI Connect, you not only get an email notification, but there's a great new tool that's there, and it's called the Referral Tracking Sheet. So if you think back to your member success program, one thing that we learned is that we should, once we receive a referral, we should be following up with that, and we should be tracking the progress of that referral to make sure that we close the deal, but also keep our referral partners in the loop as to how it's going. That's what the Referral Tracking Sheet is for. So if I take a look at the Referral Tracking Sheet, by default, it's going to show me the last 1 month, but I can go back up to 6 months at a time. So I'm going to go back a couple of months here and click Go. And this will show me all of the referrals that I've received in BNI Connect. It'll show me this was the referral for Bob Jones and his email address, his phone number. And if I click on the Edit button, this will show me the actual referral that was passed with all of the information in there. But the great part about it, it has some additional fields in it. So here I can track the status of this referral. So I can track whether it's in a new status, whether it's pending, whether this has turned into a closed sale, this referral turned into business, I can even report whether it was a no sale. So I may have tried to contact this person, and it just didn't work out for whatever reason. I can track when I first contacted them. I can track when I met with them, when I followed up with them. If I'd like to, I can track whether or not this turned into closed business here. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that this will not enter a thank you for closed business slip. It's just for your information only within this particular format. And I can even track whether or not this may have even turned into additional business, if it turned into a Tier 3 or a Tier 4 or a Tier 5 referral. I can re-rate the temperature if I need to. So this maybe wasn't so hot, it was only a 3. I can change that. And once I've made all my changes, I can click Submit. Now, the referral tracking sheet isn't just for referrals that you receive in BNI Connect. I'm sure there will be some people in your chapter that, for one reason or another, do not put the slips in online, but you may still want to track those in the system, and you can do that by adding slips into the referral tracking. Now, keep in mind, again, this does not impact the POMS report in any way using the referral tracking sheet, but let's say you received a referral from another source or from somebody in the chapter that isn't using BNI Connect. You can fill out all the information of that referral and track the status of it. So this really is a universal tool, the referral tracking sheet. Let's go back to my home screen. And of course, there's a complimentary report that goes along with that, the referral tracking report, which will just give you a quick report of all of the details of those various received referrals. Now, as I said, the status here, so we have the status as closed for these. That status will be updated in your referral partner's My Referral Report. So going back to the My Referral Report, as my referral partners close their business in the referral tracking sheet, my tracking sheet status will be updated. So it helps with that follow-up process. I can go back to Phil and say, hey, Phil, did that referral to Casey's Restaurant ever close? If he updates his referral tracking sheet, I'll know that right away. So one of the questions I always get asked is, well, what are we supposed to do at the meeting now if we're entering all of this online? And as I said, we still want to talk about all of these activities that are happening in our BNI week. One of the ways we can do that is through the personal meeting activity sheet that's down here at the bottom. And this is a sheet that you can print out before your BNI meeting. So if I click on the personal meeting activity sheet, it will give us, by default, the last week's worth of activity leading up to your meeting. And what we'll see here is the referrals, and it will print these out on a piece of paper in approximately the same size as a regular referral slip that we would normally fill out on paper. The great part about that is if you'd like to be included in the door prize drawing for the 10-minute speaker that week, you can cut these out with a pair of scissors and drop those into the basket or the hat or whatever else goes around at your particular chapter meeting. The great part about doing it this way is that your vice president, your membership coordinator, automatically knows that they don't have to count those when they're doing their weekly POMS report because it's already been entered into the POMS report. But it also organizes for you all of the rest of the information that you're to report on at that particular chapter meeting. So when you stand up, I have a referral for James Lawrence to Martha Jones. I have a referral to Joe Grimes for Acme Company, a referral for Phil Jaber for Casey's Restaurant. I have a referral for Peter George for Jane Smith. I also have thank you for closed business to Greg Bressler for 1,000, Dave Cordero for 800, Christine Donardi for 250, and Dave Cordero again for 2,500. I had 34 CEUs this week and a one-to-one with James Lawrence. So it helps you to get all that information right out in front of you so that you can talk about it during the referral and testimonial portion of the meeting. Let me close that report. Now, from a membership coordinator standpoint, let's take a look at what it would look like for you. So I'm going to go to Operations Chapter. Meeting Management, and enter POMS Report. We're going to put our meeting date in. So this would be for tomorrow's meeting, the 28th. And click on Enter POMS. And what we should see now is that some of the information for the POMS report has already been filled out. So if we look at the totals down here at the bottom, I can see the 2 referrals given outside, 2 referrals received outside, and 2 one-to-ones, $250 and thank you for closed business, and 15 CEUs. So these are the slips that were entered for this week's meeting, and if you're curious as to which slips they are, you can click on the Slips Audit Report. And this will show you all of the slips that were entered online for that week's meeting. Now, our chapter, my personal chapter here in Rhode Island, the Wakefield chapter, we've been using the online slips program for about 6 months now, since October, late October last year. I substituted for my vice president, as we call him here, our membership coordinator, to fill in because they were on vacation for a couple of weeks. I can tell you it took me about an hour and a half per meeting to enter all of the slips activity for our 50-member chapter. We have about 60% of our chapter using the online slips program now on a regular weekly basis. It now takes about 25 minutes to enter the POMS report, which is a vast improvement over how long it took to enter the data before. Theoretically, if all of your chapter is entering the slips online through BNI Connect, not only do we get all the other benefits, but as a membership coordinator, all you would really have to do is to take attendance in the POMS report, double check your slips audit report, and once it's complete, just submit the POMS. So that's the online slips program, the member module. I would like to turn it back over to you, BJ, and I would absolutely love to answer any questions at all that anybody has about the online slips member module.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. So members, we have some time to take questions. You could either raise your hand by clicking on the hand symbol beside your name, or you could type in the question and I'll take those questions. You're all muted at present, so if I do see a hand raised, I will unmute you and you can ask your question in person. So off you go. Any questions you may have, Jeremy or myself will attempt to answer those. Right, we do have some questions, so let's see. Okay, there's a question from Raki Rupani. She says, we have a one-to-one coordinator in our chapter, so how can he view the report? Raki, that I will go through personally with you on showing all the other things, all the other reports on the system. It's not really within the scope of this evening, unless Jeremy, you wanted to quickly show one-to-one reports.
Yep, all of the My Reports in the system, for privacy reasons, are completely only available to the members. So the only people that can view those My Reports are you and yourself alone. Again, even myself as a system administrator, I cannot go in and look at any of your My Reports. So there is no way for a one-to-one coordinator at this time to go in and view any of those reports. For now, what I would say is if you wanted to, those reports can be exported. So one way around this might be to get in the habit in the chapter, if you wanted to, of having members, let me pull up the one-to-one report here, but having members of your chapter that are participating in that export this report and email it to your one-to-one coordinator, or this information is still available on the PALMS report. So if you pull the PALMS report for any given week, so if I go into reports and then chapter, and I pull up the PALMS report for any given length of time, so I'm going to do the summary PALMS report. The one-to-ones are still showing up in here, so they can see how many one-to-ones they've done. Usually on a weekly basis, you can kind of cross-reference to see which ones have done. One thing, and BJ, we can probably discuss it offline, but we would be able to give access to that SLIPS audit report that they could check on a weekly basis in order to view which SLIPs were passed online. To be able to put those one-to-ones together. For
now, the PALMS report would be quite sufficient to see the one-to-one activity for the members. I hope that answers your question, Raki. There is a question from Shridhar. I'm going to unmute you, Shridhar, so you can actually ask the question. So over to you, Shridhar.
Thank you very much. The question is, how is system stability? What happens if the system goes down?
System stability, system stability has been phenomenal, especially for the past 12 to 18 months. We have had little or no unexpected downtime at all. The servers themselves are hosted by Rackspace, which is a very reputable company. It's regularly backed up and maintained and firewalled and all sorts of things. That being said, we are in the process right now of looking at having redundant systems in place. So that is the next phase of this project, and I can tell you, being in support, when the system goes down even for 5 minutes, the few times that it has over the past year and a half, we get probably about 50 emails almost immediately. That has not happened in a very, very long time.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Shridhar. The question from Vishal: if we make a mistake submitting the slips, how do we correct?
So the slips, once entered, right now they are permanent. So as soon as you enter one of these slips, it will stay as it is. There's no capacity to delete the actual slip itself. However, that being said, your membership coordinator has 100% full control of the PALMS report. So they can override any numbers that are entered into the PALMS report automatically. So for example, let's say that I entered a thank you for closed business slip, and I accidentally put in $50,000 instead of $5,000. What I would have to do is me as a member, contact my membership coordinator and say, hey, I messed up my slip that I entered last week. Can you please correct that in the PALMS report? It should be $5,000 instead of $50,000. And the PALMS report will be corrected at that point. And again, this is exactly the same as if you accidentally turn in a wrong slip now. The way that it would have to be corrected is for the membership coordinator to go in and edit the PALMS report to make sure that the correct numbers are entered there.
Thank you, Jeremy. Franklin's asking, will cross-chapter one-to-ones reflect on the PALMS report?
Yes, they will. They will reflect any of the cross-chapter activity that happens will reflect in both chapters' PALMS reports. So, for example, if I do a cross-chapter one-to-one, I would get a 1 credit in my PALMS report for having a one-to-one, and the person in the other chapter would get a 1 credit in their PALMS report as well. So let me show you how that looks, though. Also, if you're a membership coordinator and you're wondering about that, let me just go back into the View PALMS screen here under Meeting Management, and I'm going to view a PALMS summary. And let me just grab a couple of PALMS reports here. So let's take a look at this PALMS report that we just completed here. What you'll notice if you look at the SLIPS audit report is that any cross-chapter activity will be highlighted. So this one is bold, so it shows that this was a cross-chapter referral. Now in the other person's chapter, that will also show up there as bold in theirs as well. Now to keep in mind, if you do cross-chapter referrals, one of the things that we kind of always do as membership coordinators is that we add up the referrals received and the referrals given to make sure that they match. That won't necessarily be the case anymore because the referral received could be in one chapter and the referral given would be in another chapter. The given and received may not match up anymore exactly.
Okay. Thanks for that. So there's a question from Reem. This is regarding the affiliated training events which qualify as CEUs. Is there a reference list? Reem, I will be sending you that list and I'll be sharing that with all the members, and it will be available for everybody on BNI Connect as well. So I will make sure that's available to you. The other question Reem has is the membership coordinator still needs to enter visitors and testimonials. I could answer that for you, Reem. The Secretary Treasurer will actually enter the visitors, and yes, the membership coordinator will enter the testimonials, because over here we ask for written testimonials, so at the moment it's not possible to track those online. Is there anything that you wanted to add to that, Trevor?
Sure. I just wanted to show when you add a visitor to BNI Connect, so when we go through the add a visitor process, so you say that your Secretary Treasurers add visitors into BNI Connect now. So when your Secretary Treasurer adds the visitor, they'll choose who invited that visitor. And you'll see that there's a chapter list here, also the ability for cross-chapter. Whoever they choose from this list will get the credit in the V column of the PALMS report. The thing that I will say about this that sometimes is confusing to people is that the visitor credit goes into the immediate next meeting. So you actually get the credit in the PALMS report the week after the visitor attended the meeting.
That's something which we are going to address with everybody over here and make sure that they understand that, Jeremy. So at this point, like you rightly say, we don't want to confuse anybody. So we will specifically be speaking to the leadership teams next week, just so they fully understand how that all works. But yeah, in short, to answer Reem's question, the Secretary Treasurer will enter the visitors, which will then automatically populate the PALMS. Right, what happens? Okay, Audrey's asking, thank you for closed business also gets reported on PALMS then? Yes, Audrey, it does, but I mean, we've always done that, so it will come onto PALMS. But on your own landing page, you'll actually be able to track how much business you have received, which nobody else has access to. I don't know if that answers your question. I can unmute you if you want to clarify that question, Audrey, so I'm just going to do that right now. Do you have speakers?
So yes, nobody else has access to your thank you for closed business received. You are the only one that ever sees that number. And I think you had a follow-up with that about...
Sorry, I think your speed is very low, Audrey, but I got your question. You mean cross-chapter showing the monies? The answer to that is yes. So if you give a referral to somebody in another chapter which converts into business, that show me the money does get recorded. We have a question from Franklin. What happens when your visitor joins another chapter? Jeremy, correct me if I'm wrong, but right now we are unable to sponsor. So we can give, they can get credit for visitors in other chapters, but do they appear as being able to sponsor members in other chapters?
Correct. Right now, we can only sponsor members into our own chapters, which, as a director consultant, does drive me crazy because I'd love to get credit in the system for members that I bring to other chapters that end up joining. But you are correct, BJ. That is something that is on the wish list, though, that we would love to see implemented at some point.
Yes, excellent. Vicky's asking, what if the referral given has repeat business over the year? Do we need to make another referral for that, or just add it to the same?
Well, if I understand your question correctly, that would just be repeat business. You don't enter new referrals for that. You just continue to add thank you for closed business slips for that business that keeps generating more money for your company.
That's right.
Unless it's a spin-off referral that turns into, if you were to refer me to John Smith and that John Smith continues to make money for me throughout the year, every time I cash a check from him, I would enter thank you for closed business for John Smith. But all of a sudden, John Smith refers me to Bob Jones. I would then ask you to really put a referral in for a second-tier referral for that second person that was a spin-off to another referral. And I would continue to give you thank you for closed business for that as well, for that second tier.
Excellent. Okay. I don't see any other questions or hands raised. So if there is anything else, is there anything that you'd like to say, Jeremy, to close the session?
Did you get this one last question from Rajesh?
Ah, sorry. Here we got it. Okay. Is it possible to track visitors as a chapter so that the visitor host team can follow up with them? Yes, Rajesh, there is a visitor report which can be obtained, and you can get all the details of there, including contact numbers and everything else. So we will show all that to you. The teams have just gone through transition, Jeremy, and as far as BNI Connect goes, we just want this to come up next week and then train them fully on everything on BNI Connect. That's why you're getting some of these questions.
Oh, that's perfectly okay. That's what I'm here for. Happy to help.
Super. I don't think I've missed any other questions. Okay, so we've done very well with time. So, team, I'm going to post a link on the recording of this YouTube if you want to go over it again, if you want to share it with your fellow members. I believe we had over 30 members join us today. I'm sure many more still need to learn this, and in the coming weeks we will find out exactly how we get along. So all I ask all of you is bear with us, engage yourselves, start using the system, play around. There might be a few teething problems initially, but eventually we'll get there. The whole idea is to go as paperless as possible, make it efficient, and most importantly for you to be able to actually track your referrals, both given and received. So with that, I'd just like to thank all of you for attending today. Big round of applause, virtual applause for Jeremy for a fantastic presentation. Thank you very much, Jeremy. And we look forward to engaging with all of you next week as we go online. Jeremy, anything else?
No, thank you so much, BJ. Again, happy to help in any way we can. Just so you know, there is, if you're questioning any of this, there is documentation on this as well that's available. If you're in BNI Connect, click on the question mark in the upper right-hand corner, and this will take you to the training and support site. If you scroll down to the bottom, you will see the online slips and landing page. everything that we talked about today is documented in here. So if you're not sure how to enter a thank you for closed business slip, or there's a member of your chapter that isn't sure because they weren't on one of these webinars, you can show them how to do that through here. There is also a number of other online webinars that have been recorded, and as well as all of the rest of the system is all documented here as well. So if you have any other questions, feel free to obviously see BJ, see the support site, and also check out youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. And on that site, we have all of our recorded webinars up there on all of the various topics, as well as a nice message from Dr. Meisner. And if you have a minute, also join us on Facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. Give us a like. We do have conversations up there, and we share tips and tricks and good stories, release updates, all sorts of things. So love to connect with you in multiple ways. And again, thank you, BJ, for having me, and thank you, everyone, for your time here today. Happy connecting.
Thank you, Jeremy. Have a great day, and have a great evening, members. Bye-bye.